Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show.
I'd say good morning, right? But it's not. We're all in a foul mood after last night. This is the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief. Catch up on immunizations for RSV, shingles, and the Eagles defense. Walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com. And let's get right to it. That defensive showing last night was abysmal. It was embarrassing. To allow Kirk Cousins to go the length of the field, right, with dramatic ease, a guy who admittedly was not feeling right, still out of sync. He said it last night after the game-winning drive. Coming off, you can see he's still not trusting that Achilles. And yet he sits there and is not pressured the entire time. There's a myriad of things to talk about after last night's loss. I still can't believe they lost. It was a stunning defeat, but it accentuated all of their weaknesses. And this is why there is concern. There is concern and there is a foul mood in Philadelphia because what did we see last night? We saw a defense that can't get any pressure on the quarterback, a front that was completely jello, that did nothing. We talked about Huff all year, right? Everyone, to a man, gave him the benefit of the doubt in Brazil. Well, it's a soccer stadium. The field was like a cow pasture, very slippery, hurts on the ends. Let's see what happens when he comes to Philadelphia. And you know what happened? He's a freaking ghost, is what happened. Is that he was awful. He was non-existent. He had half a tackle, and they took that away from him overnight. He was terrible. Then you look at the rest of them. Jalen Carter, who I love, just not enough, right? He flashed on one play. Jordan Davis, another monster disappointment. I mean, Josh Sweat flashed. Okay, that's it. I mean, you're talking about a D-line that gave you nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then to make matters worse, and this is where I put it on the coordinator. This is where I go, hey, Vic, I understand that this is the way you play it. But if your D-line is getting no penetration whatsoever, how do you not bring pressure? How do you not dial up something? You got a quarterback that he's a pocket quarterback coming off an Achilles injury, and you don't blitz him? I'm not saying you got to go man zero and all-out blitz, but you got to bring somebody. It's nonsensical to let them just go down the field with that kind of ease. That's embarrassing. And you saw that your D-line can't get pressure. This is not in 2017 when the Eagles were marching to the Super Bowl and they got that D-line. You can play that sort of defense and you can allow your front to eat. But this front can't eat. This front can't do anything. It gives you nothing all night. You got to pressure. You got to blitz. And here's the thing. When it comes to the play call, it worked, all right? And I get it, right? The idea is to get the ball in Barkley's hands. And I understand it. And I don't think it's, well, my God, it's completely idiotic. I get it. Like, I understand it. The problem is the risk reward when it comes to that play. Like, I get you're trying to end the game there, but the problem, and it's an old adage of football, it's why in the beginning ages of football, you punted, right? It's why you took field goals, because you didn't risk it all the time. You weren't constantly going all in. So in that play, on a pass play, most of the things that can happen are bad. You drop the ball, you stop the clock. You risk an interception. You risk a sack, right? Like there's only one good thing comes out of it. You catch the ball. But there's a risk in that. And as great as Barkley is, and he catches it 99 out of 100 times, there's still that 100th time. So the risk reward wasn't worth it. And before you tell me, well, they went down and scored with ease anyway, there's a big difference getting the football with a minute 40 and having all that time than a minute. Like if you're coming with a minute and let's say that they, they run the ball, right? You run the clock, you call timeout with 1 second on the play clock, you kick the field goal, same thing. And they say they get the ball with a minute 10. So here's Cousins, and he gets the ball with a minute 10. Well, right off the bat, that first play, you can't run. You can't run the first play because the first play happens over the middle of the field. And since it's the middle of the field, it doesn't matter, right? Because you're going to burn clock. Now, with a minute 40, you want to run that play because you want to kickstart the hurry-up. See, the hurry-up offense, it gets kickstarted with a completion in the first down. And what that means is your defense is on its heels and now has to kind of fly the position. So you're catching them off balance. That's why you run that play. You run now with 140, you can run the play. But with a minute, it's too risky to run that play because now it's all of a sudden 40 seconds and counting, and you're only at the whatever it is, their 38-yard line, and you got to score a touchdown. So the dynamics change if you just use the clock, right? Like, don't be cute. And that's the problem. The problem with the way the Eagles deploy sometimes or employ their tactics is sometimes they're too cute. Like Sirianni makes a huge blunder early. You can't convince me that not taking the 3 was smart. I don't care what the chart says. I don't care. The feel of the game, manage the feel of the game. The only thing he has to do is manage the field. He doesn't call plays, right? He's got nothing to say, offense or defense. All he does is manage the game. So if you're going to manage the game, kick the freaking field goal. Take the points. It's early, right? It's not the first drive. There's been a couple drives. Feels like it's that kind of game. Just get on the board. Just kick the freaking field goal. 4th and 4, it's not like it's 4th and 2, right? 4th and 2, you can make the argument. 4th and 4, I'm sorry. You got to kick the point. Take the points. It's just a bad loss. It's a bad loss for a myriad of reasons. One, everybody in the conference lost. It was your chance to kind of go up. And that's a big game. Like that one game in the 17-game season matters. So here's the weekend where Detroit loses, Dallas loses, San Francisco loses, the Rams lose. Like that's a big deal within the conference, and you just gave it away. It was just a senseless loss. And going forward, there's a lot of issues. I mean, there's some dramatic issues. Like the defensive front is a dramatic issue that they have to overcome, that they're going to have to look at. I don't think that's a fluke. And at the end of the game, listen, I thought Jalen tried to do his best by putting them on his back, right? Like, he did what he can. Couple things there, though. At the end of the game, you just can't take a shot. He's done that before. There's no sense. You have 2 timeouts. You need like 14 yards to get a 60-yard field goal, which Elliott has done before. There's no need to throw that ball. I just don't get it. It's too risky to throw that ball. Live to play, right? You got 2 timeouts in your pocket. You still got 19 seconds. Plenty of time to go get 14, 15 yards. Why are you throwing that ball up like that? That's just a dumb play. And while I thought he was terrific running the football, when you get out of the pocket and he's doing the joystick quarterback play, you got to look down the field to throw the football. Like, their passing game just can't come to a dramatic halt because A.J. Brown's not there. And A.J. Brown's not there, and all of a sudden, there's no crispness down the field in the pass game. That also is a concern. All right. Let's bring in the boys. I know it's a somber bunch. We've already been sniping at one another. JP, John Zapata.
Not a buenos dias.
VG. Not a buenos dias. VG, Violations, Greg Capucho.
Yo.
All right. Well, let's go. Let's go. Like, you can't give me.
That's what it feels like.
Okay. Well, listen. Now you're a pro, so man up. Let's go. Let's talk about this. Let's begin with the defensive line, because to me, that's the story of the game right now.
They stink. They blow. These Georgia guys are dogs in the worst sense of it. I hate them. You really realize how much of an effect Reddick had on, I think, the productivity of the rest of the line. Without
you don't
him,
hate them. Let's try to analyze it before we go into complete fandom. All right?
I hate watching them. Okay?
That's fair.
I mean, I hate watching them. I hate having to analyze them. They stink. They create no pressure. Like, I don't understand. Jalen Carter's like this beast, and Jordan Davis is 500 pounds. There's nothing happening up front.
Well, Jordan Davis is completely ineffective and then can't get on the field.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, because then what happens is Fangio loses all kinds of faith in him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're looking at, and so his snap count starts to dwindle as the game goes on. He's huffing up, right? And Carter, I need more.
Something.
I got to get more out of you. Like, I get he's doubled a lot, but I need more because I'm not getting it from anybody else.
How bad is
You
Huff?
are, though. You're Milton Williams, every chance he gets, he's giving you a little bit of push. He's the only one that got a sack,
He
too.
flashed a couple times.
I'd rather have that than Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter right now.
Well, Jalen Carter's getting doubled, which is why Milton Williams.
There was a lot of double teams, yes. But in general,
I mean,
we lost
Milton
that
Williams, let's not
battle.
make Milton Williams out to be Warren Sapp.
No.
All right? Like, he flashed a couple of times. The problem is that line is useless. And so if that line is useless and not generating anything, then what are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
Then what if you're Vic Fangio?
I don't know.
And it's the end of the game. How do you not blitz?
That's it.
I mean, you got a statue of a quarterback. They create no pressure. Nothing. Fangio did no adjustments. And, I mean, Fangio, he's a name. But once in the last decade, he's had a team finish in, like, the top 10 in defense. Like, I don't know. Maybe the game's passed him by a little bit. I don't know why he doesn't blitz. Does he think he doesn't have the talent to blitz? I don't know.
But again, it's not about talent, right? Like, at some point, you got to scheme your way to pressure.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to do it. And again, in that situation, you just can't allow them just to go free.
I mean, you're watching it happen. It's just, what are you doing? Just play after play. He's gutting them. Kirk Cousins shredding them apart.
Shredding them apart. And it all starts with the one play, right? It starts with the play over the middle, and then they got the defense on your heels, which is why you then got to dial up some pressure. You just can't sit back. And that's the worst thing for you, is to sit back against a hobbled quarterback, a quarterback coming off a repaired Achilles. Like, he's not mobile. I would understand if it's Lamar Jackson, right? Mm-hmm. I get it if it's Mahomes. Yeah, you're afraid to blitz Mahomes. Okay, but it's Kirk Cousins. Like, you got to run. You got to move him off his spot. You got to pressure him a little bit. You just can't let him sit back there and throw dimes.
No. Mooney looks like John Taylor out there. Are you kidding me? Mooney's shredding him for like 20-yard chunks at a time.
Yeah, we've seen it before. Maybe we've seen Kirk Cousins plenty of times in the past. Anytime you get that pass rush on him, you beat him every time.
I for the life of me, I don't understand it. Let's get to the call. All right? So I don't think it's like a hang-worthy, I'm going to hang you in the public square kind of call, but it's not worth the risk. You don't need to put the ball in the air. You just got to play the percentages. And there is this notion that you're always got to go on. Well, we can end the game. And look, I get it. And if he caught it, it would end the game. But there's always the one time out of 100 where he's dropping the ball.
So
there's no need to call the play.
I don't get it, cuz. Like why? Like you have let's just say Saquon doesn't get the first down. All right, let's say he gets 2 yards. You have the tush push. You are using the tush push. And then you could have still gotten the first down on 4 or even go for the field goal, anything, but do not put the ball in the air. I just don't understand what that play call was.
Yeah, and the play is, look, I want to get the ball in Barkley's hands.
I get it.
He's my best player, and chances are they're not going to expect me to throw it, right? But again, it goes back to being too cute. So there's Kellen Moore saying, I'm going to dial this up, and we're going to win the game. Well, you didn't really need to win the game. You didn't need to risk the game on that one play.
Yeah.
Because it's completely different if Cousins got a minute 5, a minute 10, as opposed to a minute 40 with no timeouts. It's a big difference to have to drive the length of the field with 30 less seconds.
And I get that plays worked earlier in the game, but in that situation, you run the ball.
Well, again, there's no timeouts. The reason why you got the break, they got a break before at the 2-minute warning when they ruled that Barkley didn't get the first down. So that was the way to do it. Like, all right, you got a good break there. So now just end it, because now you're going to be able to burn one extra. They don't have the timeout.
Right.
You're going to be able to burn the clock for one play, and that takes you down to a minute and change.
There are just way too many factors that can go wrong in the simplest pass play, and almost all of them stop the clock. The running play, if you get stuffed, the clock runs. If you fumble and fall back on it, it runs. But you have tip ball incomplete. It's like this just makes no sense to do this. And I don't care. People say it's the right call because he's open. It's not the right call. It's not the right call. I don't care what the numbers say. The analytics often do not equate for human error. And, I mean, humans screw up. It happens. I'd rather screw up and get stuck 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage and have the clock running. It's just infuriating.
Well, it is, because how the whole thing plays out, again, it's a different mindset when you have a minute and change and no timeouts and have to score a touchdown.
Zach, who's joining us, he had a next-gen stat. At like a minute and 45, minute and 50 seconds, the Vikings had a 0.7% chance of winning this game. 0.7%.
Well, the worst thing about the whole thing, too, is, you look at the way the Eagles, basically you have this win, right? It's in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
Like you come down, you have a 10-minute drive. Like that drive reminded you of 2022.
Right.
That was I'm going to take your heart and your lungs type of drive. And you flushed it. Like, that's what sucks, is that you flushed all the good that happened last night. And there was a lot of good, including that drive. And then at the end, guys, like, listen, Jalen just can't throw that ball. You can't make that throw.
Well, he falls into hero ball a lot.
He does.
And he's used to having A.J. Brown jump up and save him, but
That was
A.J.
such
Brown's not there.
A woeful decision to just heave it up.
Yeah.
And that comes after, he made poor decisions in the opener. Like, you got to button that up. You would just have to. There's no need. Like, listen, they were able to get to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Things fell right.
Right.
All right. The way the schedule fell, the quarterbacks, right? If you're really going to try to make another run, he's got to be buttoned up.
Yeah.
Like, you got to convert, like Mahomes, Josh Allen. Those guys get you the field goal.
Yeah.
Those guys get you the field goal.
Got to play smart.
Like, there was a lot of good from Jalen last night.
There was.
But that was bad.
Yeah.
You got to be able to get the field goal. You have 2 timeouts. You need 15 yards.
Yeah.
Eat it.
27
Throw
seconds.
the ball away. That's what you got to do. Live to play another play.
You the check down guy. Why does he never throw the check down receiver?
I don't know.
That's another thing, too, we never talk about.
Well, the other thing is he's got to be able to survey the field more.
Yes.
Like, God bless him, right?
Right.
He's as tough as nails, and he played with a lot of heart last night, man.
Yeah.
But, dude, for your own safety,
Yes.
you can't imperil. You can't run like that every game. We've seen it before. It's not sustainable. So when you're moving around, move to throw. Like, he's got to master that.
Yeah.
When you're playing joystick football, and he'll play the joystick football, where he's up and then he'll go back and then he'll go here. You got to have your eyes downfield to throw the football. You got to, first of all, big plays happen then. And second, you just save your body.
Can I ask you, before that play for Barkley's called, is there conversation on the headset where Kellen Moore has been told we're kicking the field goal? So he's like, all right, I got to get the first down here or we're kicking the field goal. Or are they saying, we have 3 yards. Let's go. We have 2 plays to go 3 yards to end this game.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, everybody knows.
Is the decision made, like, we're kicking the field goal if we don't get it here on 3rd down?
Well, no, they're going to see what happens. If it's 4th and 1 or less than 1, then they would do the tush push. So it's pretty much like you know what the situation is. Like, you know what's going on. You got in that situation. You should run it, to your point, and if it's more than a yard, you kick the field goal. I mean, that's the mindset.
It just feels like with Barkley and the tush push, to not have confidence in 2 plays to go 3 yards seems crazy. I don't understand it at all.
I listen. I agree. I mean, in their mind, again, it goes back to being too cute.
Yeah,
like it's like, well, they're going to load the box, so how are we going to run and load the box? And we've seen Barkley break tackles,
Yeah, you have the best offensive line in football.
And again, worst case scenario is you kick the field goal.
Right.
Yeah. So ESPN on Monday Night Football put out the stat on that drive, on the game-winning touchdown drive. In 2023, the Eagles had 3 losses where we were leading after the 2-minute warning. And so, I know we're trying to move on from 2023, but it's those losses like last night where people are going to bring up last season. And I know we have to move forward, but
forget about bringing up last season. Yeah, I mean, that's all meaningless. The point is, this is where you're getting at. The point is that nothing's changed off their defense.
Nothing.
That's what the point. All the rest of the stuff is noise. What I say, what you say, fans say, it's noise. It's white noise, and it's all blocked out. The truth of the matter is why that matters, that stat, it's indicative of their defense. It's indicative of their front. And what scares me, because I still think they're a good team, I don't think the season's over. Right? I still think they're going to be in the mix. The NFC's, all these teams are flawed. They all lost, right? They're all flawed, right? There's not there's juggernauts. The Eagles can still win. Yeah. But what scares me is that D-line. I don't know if that's too big of an Achilles to overcome.
Yeah. Especially if it's system, you need a good D-line to get that pass rush. Or you need
in the system, yes. In the system that Fangio wants to run, you got to have a D-line that gets pressure because he's not blitzing.
There's no push at all, guys.
I mean, Howie's name is not coming up anywhere. I mean, this is his D-line. He let Reddick go. I mean, he got Huff. Huff makes me want to huff glue. He's terrible.
Yes. Yeah. And listen,
he's just non-existent.
You're right. And we have, gone overboard, and I have, and praising Howie, and I thought the right moves. The Huff move was the only one. I think we all felt the same way. It feels like you're overpaying for a guy that had one kind of blip, right? Like he flashed last year, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about investing in that when you had a quantity with Reddick, a known thing. Yeah. Now, the problem with Reddick is, we see it. He's, Hassan is not playing, which is a complete mistake on his part.
Yep.
Like at this age, you're not going to play? Like that's just is a bad decision. I don't know who's giving him advice, but I think it's a bad decision. It's a shame because if he's here, that's pressure, right? There's a guy that gives you pressure. And now maybe he and Carter work better because Carter, there's too much on the kid. Right. I know we're all expecting him, and I'm expecting him to do this, but he has seen a lot of double teams.
Well, he's the only one you have to worry about. It's just a sad day today. It's hard getting up, get going today.
Well, it is hard, but what was weird, and you brought me to this point. I was getting uneasy as kickoff was approaching. You texted me. You're like, I don't like the vibes.
Well, tailgate. I was down in the Jetro lots and stuff. It was dead. Everyone was like, wow, it's going to pick up at like 6 o'clock, 6:30. It never picked up.
Really?
I don't know if it was because of Monday night game and people were working.
Peaked early.
Or people were over maybe where the ESPN guys were on the other side. But Jetro, that area is usually
I don't know.
banging.
And it had a weird.
And everything, it was empty.
There was a weird vibe. The whole night had a weird vibe in that, I mean, it was really the whole weekend because of all the losses, the weird losses, right? Detroit, San Fran, like we're saying. I don't know. I'm still stunned. Like, that's a stunning loss. That's a kick in the teeth type of loss because you had that big drive. Like, that drive was a thing of beauty. The other thing, too, is your pass game just can't stall out without A.J. Brown.
Britton Covey got the second most targets. And Brain was all over.
Yeah, I was going to say, man.
Britton Covey. Like, how does he get more targets than Goddard? Come on.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get Britton Covey. I don't get. I mean, what is it about Dotson that he doesn't?
He had 2 targets last night.
You know
what was Covey's yards of the catch?
But you know what the problem was, and this is the offense that I don't like this offense. Like if this is what it's going to be, all the horizontal stuff, go down the freaking field.
Yeah.
They don't go down the field unless AJ's in the game. They don't go down the field. How many shots did he take down the field? He forced the one at the end of the game, the worst one, right? But they didn't take a shot. Like, you're going to tell me Dotson wasn't free down the field? I got to look at the all-22.
Right.
But I got to believe at some point he's behind.
But to your point, the running game was working, so why not try to hit the ball downfield?
I know. And where's Goddard?
Right.
He's still not working the middle of the field. Where was the middle of the field?
Without AJ, you got to include that weapon in there. In that
Like,
game plan.
their pass game.
Slay got torched on that last play, that touchdown.
Yeah. It was a great route, though.
Yeah, it
It
was
was a great
man.
route.
Hit him well.
Yeah.
His
But
feet look like they're stuck in mud.
offensively, like you got to be more dangerous. And then early in the game, I don't know with you guys, but I like, to me, it's not even an argument. You kick the field goal.
Yeah.
4th and 4.
This is a team that struggled to score points last week, the Falcons, and they're not an offensive juggernaut. Any points against this team is going to be valuable.
What are you trying to? I mean,
they're not an elite offense.
Just get the points,
Right, get the point. Like, you're a couple drives into it. Like, I wouldn't do it, but it's passable if it's the first drive of the game, I guess. But just I don't understand why you got to be so cute about it. Like, it goes back to this. There's a reason why in football, all right, that people punted on 4th down, that people ran the ball with clock. Like, these were basic tenets of football. And I get the Madden game and all the new OCs and all the young blood says to hell with the old tenets. But there was a reason for those things. There was a reason why you didn't, that you took the field goal. You didn't pass up an opportunity on points.
You know what I think? When a team does that and go for it early in the game, I feel like it's an underdog. And like, why? You shouldn't have to play like that. You shouldn't have to play like you're an underdog. It's the Atlanta Falcons.
Dude, listen, I'm with you. To me, yeah, you had to kick it. All right,
Exactly.
Tell us about TrueMark. I heard from Kelly Body this morning.
Yeah? What'd she
the
say?
CEO of TrueMark Financial Credit
Sure,
Union.
she's not happy.
She is not happy.
No.
She was upset. She's like, I gotta get all the check. Like, I don't want to talk about the banking and money and any of that stuff. I don't want to talk about TrueMark Financial. I want to talk about the birds. That was Kelly.
She's the best.
She is the best. That's why she's a true CEO.
That's right.
Not the Eagles coach.
No, seriously. I love it. Well, listen, I know we're all down on the Eagles, but one thing that should get us all up is our friends over at TrueMark Financial, because they are here to take care of us and our finances, ladies and gentlemen. Budget for kids' sports league and activities with TrueMark Financial's money management tool in their online banking and mobile app. Managed family finances includes budgeting for kids' sports leagues. Create a separate budget category for sports expenses to track costs effectively, and even involve your kids in early budget discussions. It is never too early to get them involved. If you're going on a away trip, I know some people are not looking forward to this New Orleans trip of this upcoming weekend, but if you are, it is great to have the TrueMark Financial mobile banking app, because they will track all your expenses. But if you happen to lose your debit card or your credit card at Mercedes-Benz Dome, Well, they have the lock feature on the app, so you can lock it. You don't have to have that little heart attack anymore. And TrueMark Financial will help you get you a new card if you need it as well. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. If you would like some more information on TrueMark Financial, if you want to get your credit union career started here today, you can visit truemark.com/PHLY, or they have 24 branches in the area. You can walk up in and they'd be more happy to answer any questions or start your credit union career. Thank you so much to our friends over at TrueMark. And while we're at it and we're talking about being outside and going on away games, well, listen, we still got the sun out there. So we still need to protect those eyeballs. And we're going to do it with our friends over at Shady Rays because they are reliable here. Unlike the play calling last night, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And listen, thousands and thousands of different styles that they have for whatever your style may be for sunglasses. I like more of the sport look. So they have a great variety of different types of sport glass looks, I should say. And you're not going to break the bank. That's the most important part. They have high quality sunglasses that you won't have to break the bank for. It's a great product, but don't take it from me. Take it from over 300,000 people that have rated Shady Rays 5 stars or more. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to get your fresh pair of Shady Rays. Head on over to the website, check out their 1,000 different type of styles. And when you get to the checkout page, use the promo code PHLY. This will get you 35% off those polarized sunglasses. So what are you waiting for, ladies and gentlemen? Get style and profiling today with our friends over at Shady Rays.
All right, buddy. All right. It's 9:30 across the Delaware Valley. And we're brought to you by, of course, the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Let's talk to our man who is the analyst for the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. That's the big Brain. All right, Brain, let's get right to it. We talk a lot about decision-making when it comes to these NFL coaches. When to kick field goals, when to go for it, when to read the body language and read the tea leaves of a game. And last night, again, there was failure on multiple fronts, Brain.
I got to tell you, Anthony, and it's funny. I got angry. I legitimately got angry. Anthony, I said it to you probably 1,000 times in the show, and I'll be 1,001. When did it become that kicking field goals was cancer? When did kicking a field goal, when did taking points become cancer? I don't get it. You're 4th and 4 at the 10-yard line. You were well below 50% to score there. What are you doing? You don't care about 3 points? You're that rich in scoring that you don't care? I struggle with it.
You got no A.J. Brown, right? Like you're going up like a team like Atlanta where, plus the first couple drives, it felt like it was going to be that game.
Because
where
100%.
Both teams are going to run the ball with Bijan and Barkley, which is going to keep the clock moving. So any points are good points.
Anthony, again, and this is what I said again, and I am not a non-analytical person at all. I mean, I'm very understand analytics at the highest level. I get why it's good, but I also understand it's like anything else in life. If you lose weight, it could be good if you overweight, but if you lose too much weight, it could be unhealthy. It's like the same thing with analytics. If you just take it too far, you don't understand and take the pulse of the game with it like you did. That's what, Anthony, one of your specialties that you're great at. You saw watching that game what kind of game it was going to be. You're not playing the New England Patriots when they had Randy Moss, when they're going to put up a 50 on you, where you need to score to keep up with him. It wasn't that kind of game. 3 is a good number. There's nothing wrong with it. Guess what? If they're up 6 last night, they just kick a field goal, they're up 9, the game's over. And now listen, obviously the game call at the end. Look, Barkley catches that, you want to say 99 out of 100 times, but the other thing of looking is anytime you pass, there's a chance you do get that unlucky, incomplete pass. They would have had, a minute to go. No, but Eagles defense, Anthony, look, there's so many layers of this game that upset me. I mean, did you see at the end when they really showed just the from behind the quarterback, how open these guys were? I mean, it was just, again, I use the word angry. Look, you can't give away games in the NFL. It's like when the Sixers blew that game to the Knicks in game 2 and they're up 5 with 20 seconds left. It wasn't as bad as that, Anthony, but God, you just give away a game. Give it away. Man, I that was probably the most upset on the Eagles loss I can recall in a while. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. You're spot on, man. Spot on. We were talking about it all morning. Because there's basic tenets, right? Like, I just got done saying this. Football, there's a reason why you punt. There's a reason why that you kick a field goal, right? Like those old adages. And again, if it's 4th and 1, I'm down. Go for it. 4th and 2, okay. 4th and 4, take the freaking points, right? At the end of the game, you don't need to win it with that play. You play the clock, play the percentages, run the ball. You run the ball, and I'll tell you exactly how it manifests itself. If Atlanta's got a minute and change as opposed to a minute 40, you know what the difference is? You can't run that first play, which was a 12-yard pass over the middle where the clock is going, right? You can't run that.
It changes everything, Anthony. It changes everything. It gives you, again, and by the way, if they ran the ball there, it was 3rd and 3, I believe. If Barkley gets 2 yards, to me, the game's over, right? Because they're going to get it on the tush push in all likelihood. Because then, if 3-point game, I have no problem with them if they wanted to. I have no problem if they wanted to, instead of saying, you know what, we'll shoot the field goal here because we think with this the way the tush push was working last night, or you think I just don't get it. But again, to me, more than the pass call at the end, not taking the points in the first quarter, and I said it at the time, I was like, you can't, again, when you treat field goals like they're cancer, you get what you deserve. It is just absolutely gotten so over the top. It infuriates me because you can't. Jalen, at least I was happy with the way Jalen looked, at least running the ball, Anthony. I thought I was impressed with that. But their defense, Anthony.
Well, that's the story. The whole story is their D line gets no pressure. Their D line is marshmallow, right? And the problem with that is at the end of the game, if you're Fangio and you know you're not getting any pressure all night, how do you not blitz? Like, I know that's not in your core beliefs.
Style, right.
You gotta pressure. You can't allow a quarterback coming off an Achilles who's admittedly not feeling well. Like, you gotta pressure him. You have to take chances. It's not like you're blitzing Mahomes. You're blitzing Cousins.
That was a loss, Anthony, where you just see how many layers of that loss it took for Atlanta to win that game. They needed to have Sirianni make the boneheaded decision in the first quarter, not take the field goal. They needed Barkley to drop a pass that me and you would have caught if we were blindfolded. They needed the Eagles to just not run the ball at the end. I mean, they needed a lot of things really to go their way. And then even at the end, there was 27 seconds left. They were at the 45-yard line. The Eagles, to me, were about a 2.5 to 1 favorite there. Okay, 2.5 to 1 favorite. Look, but give Atlanta credit. They sent the house to try to pressure Hurts, and he made a bad throw, and because he
made a terrible decision. Let's call it what it was. It was an abysmal decision. He gave away the game. He was trying to play hero ball, throwing it up for grabs. That is not Super Bowl quarterbacks don't do that. They don't do that. Mahomes doesn't do it. Allen doesn't do it. Those guys get you the field goal. Like, those guys get you the field goal. He's got to clean that piece of it. He made poor decisions in the opener, and last night, the end of the game was a bad decision.
Horrible. Look, again, Anthony, you get the gift with Dallas losing, and then it just, again, I try, and it's important not to overreact to one thing, because I remember even dating myself way back when. I don't know if you remember, there was a time the 49ers went 15-1 or 14-2. Steve Young won his one Super Bowl, and the Eagles beat them 40-8 in San Francisco. The headline of the Daily News was 48ers. So any game, anything can happen. But what I saw last night, the lack of pass rush, I say to myself, okay, with a defense coordinator who doesn't like to blitz, I say to myself, okay, how's that going to change? Like, what do we have? And a coach who is married to analytics, who cannot, again, one of your talents is you have a feel, like, you don't just look at things black and white. You can look at the big picture saying, okay, maybe the analytics they do this, but the way this game is playing, you can't just go by what the stupid chart says.
No.
And that's the part where I feel like Sirianni's like a robot, where he's just looking at a chart that tells him 4th and 4th at 10, go for it. It has to be right.
I agree. And here's the other problem. Here's the problem with a CEO coach, too, who comes from the offensive side of the ball, is you got to say to, like, Kellen Moore has autonomy. He's calling the game, right? That's what he's doing. He's calling the game. But, like, you're the CEO coach, and you're the offensive guy. Like, I just have a problem with an offensive guy who's now the CEO coach because, like, you can't throw the ball in that spot. Like, you just can't do it.
Yeah, it was. Listen, last year when they went through that horrible stretch with a different kind of anger, it was just like, wow, like you were just watching them just get killed. Where you're like, all right, I mean, you don't even know what to say. It was like Mike Tyson knocking you out in 30 seconds. They were just getting blown out. Last night was a game they should have won. And when you just give it away, there's 17 games in the NFL, 17. You cannot just throw away a game with recklessness. And that was a reckless. That is the word to use.
Yes.
Reckless.
Yeah, you're right. It was reckless.
And when you coach like that, man, again, if I was a player in that locker room, I would have a real problem today. You know, when you talk about accountability, right? We always talk about accountability. Where's the accountability?
I mean, it's just not. Again, it's like, you know what the problem is? Because I heard Sirianni's, and of course he's going to defend Kellen Moore, and I get it. But there's an air of arrogance that the game was invented 5 years ago, right? Like this game is going on long before you were born, buddy. Like, you know, things change and things evolve, but there are some basic tenets that still matter. It just drives me nuts. And again, the other thing too is everything's flawed. Every team's got flaws. The Niners lose to Minnesota. The Lions lose at home. The Cowboys get destroyed. That's the nature of this league, right?
The Chiefs should have lost.
Yeah, right. But that's the nature of I'm just looking at the NFC. Yeah. That's the nature of this conference in this league. But that's what happened in the conference. The issue is you look at it and you go, can this D-line, can they overcome the Achilles heel that this defensive line? That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, well, and that's, Anthony, that is a great concern. And look, the answer through 2 games is a heck no. I mean, and it really, and you say to yourself, how's it going to change, right? Because that's like, and it's funny, just 2 years ago, they have 70-some sacks. They set an NFL record. Man, again, how things can change. It's things can change quickly, but if they don't get that fixed, look, they need to control the clock, which they at least should be able to do with their offense. But Anthony, that was horrible. Again, it was probably the most upset I've been after an Eagles loss.
I know. Well, let me give you your flowers, Brain. You took Atlanta. You also took Covey.
Covey, yeah. But I had my biggest.
I hate that offense. I hate horizontal. Just go vertical.
My biggest bet was Bijan over 14.5 carries. Thought he'd have a good game. He finished with 14. That was an annoying loss. That was my big bet on that game. But listen, I mean, look, they gotta look now, Anthony. Look, tough game, right? Going into the biggest surprise in the NFL, right? Arguably, probably, right? Games right around sitting at Pick'em. No A.J. Brown. Now it's funny. Just everything changes. If you go, you're 2-0. You have a game lead. If you were to lose this one, you're still 2-1. Now you lose this one, the sky can start to fall pretty quickly before you know it. And so,
I don't want to think about that. I don't believe that this is a season-ending defeat. I don't believe
No.
I don't believe that. I still think they're going to be in the mix, right? But, you know, I'm worried mostly about the D-line. Hey, Brain, we got to run, so give us your quickly any picks.
Michael King, one of my favorite guys, 23-3
Padres,
over 40. 23-3 over 4.5 strikeouts, 13-0 at home. His home road splits are incredible this year at home. 23-3. You lay about $1.55. I don't care. I think this is at least a 2 out of 3 bet conservatively. And then Bailey Falter, ex-Philly, Pittsburgh Pirates, under 4.5 strikeouts. Guy's one of the worst K rates in baseball. 17-7 of that under against a team that's not been striking out much in St. Louis. Those are my 2 favorites of the day.
Anybody out early in the week that you're looking at for the weekend football?
I bet a couple things, Anthony. I got under 41.5 in the Raiders game. Now, they made the quarterback change, which was smart, but I still like under 41.5 there. I did bet, as much as I love the Vikings, I think the Texans are better, and I think the Texans will win that game. I laid 1.5 there.
Yeah, I did too.
And I'm trying to think. I think I bet one other game. I'm trying to think what it is off the top of my head. But it's spacing. I'm spacing out right now. But those were
Okay.
two things I bet last night.
Sounds good, buddy. All right, brother. Good stuff as always, Brain. Thank you.
See you guys tomorrow.
There he is, the great Brad Feinberg. The brain. The one thing we talk about, and that was part of the conversation, which is the basic tenets of football. Like that's real.
Yeah.
Taking points, kicking field goals is real. Like it matters.
Trying to reinvent the game, cuz.
And my issue is trying to win the game on singular plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't need to do that. You didn't need to throw it in that situation.
I'm perplexed. I'm almost speechless about what happened in that last 2 minutes. But can we also talk about something else that's grinding my gears?
What's that?
How many offensive linemen downfield penalties is this team going to get? They can't straighten this out in practice?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
There's like 3 of them last night?
But it is hard, though, because, like, if you're the
about Jalen running is right.
How do you know that?
Yeah, I know. All right, for some educated answers from the locker room, our man Z Berman, who does such a great job covering the Birds. Great job last night, Zach. Not the result we all wanted. I'm going to lead with the defense. Why no pressures? You got nothing from your D-line, and you allow Cousins, a guy coming off with Achilles injury, and not pressure him one time? I don't understand that, Zach.
Yeah, you hit it on the head there. And I think part of it's personnel issue, honestly. Bryce Huff has not been productive enough. And for what they're expecting of Bryce Huff, both in terms of role and salary, you need to see more through 2 games. And then elsewhere, I mean, Jalen Carter needs to do more through 2 games. You know, if you look at where the sacks are coming from, it's not coming, and they only have 3 sacks through 2 games here, but it's not coming up from their money players. But you talked about that final drive. When I was watching it back as I was writing my column, last night, this morning, however you want to frame it, I was watching, I watched Kirk Cousins this whole drive. The Eagles literally did not touch Kirk Cousins on that drive. So in obvious passing situations, when your pass rush can't even touch him, I'm not even talking about sacks. I'm talking about quarterback hits. That's problematic.
See, but I blame Fangio because he knows he has this personnel. And at this point, you gotta somehow scheme your way to pressure. And it's not like you're blitzing Mahomes, who's going to make you pay, who can get out of the pocket and move. You got to go after Cousins. He's a guy coming off an Achilles injury. Listen, I've never been a fan of this defense. I don't like it, but I get it. There's a reason why teams deploy it. In that situation, you got to come off it. You can't allow them. You can't allow him to sit back and get you chunks of yardage like that. You got to switch it up.
Yeah, I don't disagree as far as if you're not getting home with your front 4, you need to manufacture pressure. Now they sent pressure earlier in the game on the long touchdown. And I don't know if that was in Fangio's head or not, but clearly. The reality is this. I agree with you that you need to create pressure there, but I start with the guys who are here to pressure the quarterback, and if they're not doing it, then it's gonna be a long season for the pass rush.
Yeah, well, they're not good. I mean, let's be real. Huff isn't good. Huff hasn't done anything. I mean, he's just been a waste. At so much point that his snap count goes. How many snaps did he get last night?
He was a little above 50% last night.
I mean, come on, man. And meanwhile, Jordan Davis, is he alive? Is he around? Was he there last night?
Yeah. Look, I was talking to Fletcher Cox before the game last night, and I asked Fletcher, like, who's the guy who is doing what you would do in the room after a run performance like Green Bay had against them, and he said, like, that's clearly not acceptable, and Jordan Davis needs to be the guy who steps up and says something, because you can't allow 7+ yards per carry. And then you see last night Bijan and Algier were having their way against the Eagles defense. So if you're not stopping the run and you're not pressuring the quarterback, then it's hard to be a good defense.
I'm perplexed about how abysmal that front is. How abysmal. Like, I like their secondary by and large. I know Slay got beat on the last play or whatever, but you can't win in this league without a front. Like, you just can't win without a front. Well,
yeah. And the thing I would add to that is it's so like against the way the Eagles have been built for 2+ decades, where everything's been about pass rushers. And when you look at the type of draft resources they've invested in this position, you look at the money they've invested in this position, for there to be a personnel issue is problematic.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about the decision to throw it. All right. Now, again, I get it. Ball in his hands. I understand it. However, there's the one time out of 100 where the ball gets dropped, or the ball is errant throw because it slips out of his hand, which hurts it. There's a million things that can go wrong, right? For that one time that doesn't work. You just got to play the clock there. You got to play the clock. There's a reason why there's these basic tenets of football, like running the ball when the team has no timeouts, like kicking a freaking field goal on 4th and 4 in the first quarter when you see what kind of game it's going to be.
Yeah, I hear you there. Now, my pushback would be that the play worked, right? That, like, Saquon...
Irrelevant, counselor. Irrelevant. Yeah. Because one time out of 100, he's going to drop it. So why risk it?
So I kind of look at the whole sequence together. I really don't like passing it there on 3rd down and then kicking the field goal on 4th down. Because to me, like, if you're playing to win the game there, you play to win the game there, right? And I would have been okay with running 3rd down and 4th down. I don't like stopping the clock on, with the incompletion there on 3rd down and then kicking the field goal on 4th down. I think you have to go for that there. You going from 3 to 6. I don't like that, giving them a minute and a half to go downfield. I thought that.
Well, but here's the problem. You can't give him the field goal to tie. You got to kick the field goal to go up 6, because you just can't go short field. I can kick a field goal and tie you. So you got to protect the 3.
I'm trying to win the game right there. Like, and their win probability.
I don't want to hear about win probability. I don't want to hear about it. It's nonsense. Okay? Because if you understand the freaking game, you can see it. There's no reason to risk the game in that spot where if you run the ball on 3rd down, here's what can happen. A, I'm close enough for a tush push to end the game. Or B, I run it down, kick the field goal to go up 6 to force Atlanta to drive the entire field to beat me with a minute and change. And you know what that changes? That changes the first play of their drive. So before you tell me, well, look, it only took a minute for them to go down the field. They wouldn't have run the first play, which is the drive starter in the middle of the field, which took 22 seconds. You can't run that play and then still have enough time to go down the field. You got to think ahead of it.
Yeah, I don't want to give them the ball back to begin with, right? I mean, I want to end the game with the ball in your hands. That was my
perfect world, yes. But every time you're not going to complete it 100 out of 100 times, even if it is Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I wouldn't have had an issue. Well, if they ran the ball on that 3rd down and you get in the 4th and manageable. And it was 4th and manageable to begin with, and you get into if you have 2 runs there that try to get the first to close the game out. I am with you there. I look at that passing play, and what Sirianni said after the game, as far as They were clogging the middle. They were selling out the middle. Saquon was open. Saquon catches that ball, you win the game. But I hear your point about that one time out of 100.
It's unnecessary risk reward. It is what it is, because there is one time of all the planes of existence, right? The parallel universes where he doesn't catch it, like last night. Like that happens. And then the other thing that boggles my mind is it's 4th and 4 early in the game. You see what kind of game it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Just take the freaking points, dude. See, this is why some of today's game irritates me, because there's a reason why coaches punted on 4th down and they kick field goals on 4th down and they ran the ball when teams don't have timeouts. There's a reason why. It's not all changed. There's parts of the past that you still need to deploy, like blitzing a freaking quarterback who's got one leg.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you on the pressure from the quarterback part. I do disagree with you in terms of the 4th down decision. But I
what do you like about going for it? It's 4th and 4. Take the freaking points, Zach. What do you like about that?
I'm talking about the 4th down at the end of the game. The 4th down at the end of the game. That's the one where I keep the offense on the field there. Try to.
I don't do that, but whatever. I mean, I go ahead. I welcome you to do that, because I would never do that. But I'm talking about in the first quarter. It's a couple drives in it. You can see what kind of game it's going to be. Just take the points. What do you got against the points?
Yeah. Look, you're trying to maximize. You're trying to maximize.
4th and 4. It's not 4th and 2.
Sure, you're right, and it didn't work. That's the bottom line. You have to look at what the end result was, and the decision did not work.
If you're playing the Chiefs, all right, and you know it's going to be a shootout, all right, go for it. You're playing the Falcons. It's an offense that is going to be capped to X amount of points. Just take them.
Yeah.
Time, place, situation, opponent. Those things all matter within the chart. It's not just about this. Okay, whatever it says, I'm going to do. It's not just about that. It's all these circumstances that you need to put all together and then make a decision.
I hear you there. You know, there's a school of thought that you don't date the numbers, you marry the numbers, right? Like if you're gonna adhere to them,
I hate that. I freaking hate it. It's religious. It's being a zealot, right? It's being a fanatical religion about the numbers. All right. So go marry him, and what's going to happen is she's going to cheat on you.
Look, she cheated on you last night.
Everybody invented the game yesterday. The arrogance of it. It's arrogant. And the football gods will punish you for arrogance.
Well, they lost last night. So you got your point there. They lost last night. There's no question there.
Oh. All right. Anything, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, the defense stinks. More of a question mark for me is, with A.J. Brown out, how does Britton Covey get more targets than Goddard and Dotson combined?
Yeah, I agree with you there. And, you know, I said it. I like Britton Covey, but I think even Britton Covey would tell you there was a point in the 4th quarter where he had more targets than Goddard, Dotson, and Barkley, right? And to me, that's egregious. And that's where Nick always talks about this offense runs through AJ, Devontae, Dallas, right? You got to get the ball to your best players. And you got to look at that and say Dallas Goedert's coming out of the game with X amount of targets. Devontae Smith's coming out of the game with X amount of targets. Saquon is coming out of the game with X amount of targets. And I hear what they say about you follow your progressions. I think you put the ball in your best player's hands.
And at the end of the game, listen, Jalen played his heart out, but you just can't give up that play. You can't just throw the ball for grabs. I mean, you got to get the field goal. You got 2 timeouts. You got to go 15 yards to give your kicker a chance, a kick that he's made before. So you just can't throw it up like that. He's done that before. You got to stop that.
Yeah, you and I are on the same wavelength there for this one here. I don't think that has gotten enough attention. And I'm part of the one covering this, so I will own that. Is that I thought that play there, it was like you're in such disbelief about the way it worked defensively and that final the sequence on the penultimate drive. Hurts, they were in position to set Jake Elliott up for a field goal there.
Yeah,
they had after that first play to Goddard, they called the timeout. They still have 30 seconds, one timeout, and you need 15 yards thereabouts to get it within a 60-yard field goal, right? And you look around the NFL, kickers are routinely hitting 50-plus yard field goals. Jake Elliott's done that. Yeah. That's where you don't put the ball up for grabs there. You understand you have multiple shots. You don't need it all on one play. You can you have the timeout, you have the sideline, you have the clock. There's things in your advantage. The one thing you don't do is you don't throw it to the other teams. There's two things. You don't take a sack and you don't give them the ball. And for him on the second play to give him the ball, that's a bad decision from your franchise quarterback.
Yeah, no, I feel you. All right, Zachariah, lots to talk about. This is going to be a long week where you're going to bore to the core of all this stuff.
Yeah,
Bo
and I
2 o'clock today.
Yeah, Bo, Fran, and me are digging in at 2 o'clock today. Back at the facility tomorrow. Short week, but man, that Saints game looks really tough. And we should add too, you guys also on the telecast, Lisa Salter said AJ Brown's out for a few weeks here. Yes. I asked Nick Sirianni about it. Nick wouldn't comment on the length of the injury, but it looks like you're going to be playing without AJ now for at least a few games.
Yeah, that's a big deal against that team. And if you don't pressure Carr with his weapons, or you're going to give Kamara those kinds of run lanes, I'm scared. It's just a bad game to lose. Everybody lost, right? Niners, Cowboys, Lions at home. Like, there were losses everywhere. The Rams get blown out. You can't lose that game. You had it won.
Yeah, that's what I wrote on allphly.com is you lose games in the NFL, but you can't lose that game. You can't lose it the way they did.
Yes.
That was inexcusable. And in my 13 years covering the team, that's as inexcusable loss as they've had.
Especially after you had that drive, that 10-minute thing of beauty. That 10-minute drive is a thing of beauty. And you flushed it.
You're right.
You and I are going to have sit-downs about the way we look at trying to win a game.
That's fair.
I'm saying we should have a fun debate about it. I think because it's basically are you married to this? Is that it? Are you married to that?
I mean, I do think
bore that.
I think context matters. I do think you look at context, but I think that the numbers bear it out for a reason. And I'm always on the side from a coaching perspective. I'm on the side of leaning toward being aggressive. Try to win the game.
I am too, but I'm Andy Reid aggressive, right? Okay. Like I'm not like let me just willy-nilly go for it because that's what it says. Because that is. That's like I got big balls. All right, well, sooner or later you're going to get decapitated because you're not being smart.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, this is always the conversation about Brandon Staley in the past few years. You have to judge it based on the results. And if you're sitting here with a loss, you have to own that. But I would have been more aggressive on that final drive. I don't want to give. I don't like a 6-point lead with a minute and a half to go. I don't want to give them the ball.
Well,
I don't want to give them
first of all, you should never have thrown it. You don't do it. I get it, and I understand that most of the time it works, and you're taking a shot. But you don't need to win the game there. That's my only point. Anyway, we'll get to it. Good stuff as always, my brother. We love you. Thanks.
This was fun. Thank you.
All right, here he is, Berman, Zachariah. I can't do the marry the numbers thing. I can't do that. I don't. The situation matters. Opponent matters. How the game is going matters. All that stuff plays a part in it.
there's so many things that are not quantifiable.
I know. That's why the numbers, like these straight numbers, I just don't understand it. But there's a reason why the game existed. Like, we're going to talk to Baldy coming up. The game existed back then at a high level. Bill Parcells knows a couple things about football. Like, there is like, listen, I appreciate the new coaches and the Shanahans. And I get it, man. It goes to McVay. They're terrific. But this chart, analytics, is religion, is fanaticism.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Taliban-like.
Just needs to be an element, not the entire game plan.
Oh. All right, let me tell you about the BetPark Sportsbook and Casino app. The only online casino sportsbook that we recommend and use. That's right, BetParks has your seat. Live dealer for all your favorite classic casino games right on your phone. I'm looking at it right now. Play live dealer, blackjack, craps, roulette, and more while watching the game. Bet on all your favorite sports, the Birds, pro football, college football. Make your downtime fun time. Download the BetParks app right now. Enjoy all the action, excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Play hundreds of exciting online slots. Check out the new Peaky Blinders slot game. Oh, my God, I love it. Based on the TV show, which is one of my favorites. New users, download the BetParks online casino app and sportsbook and get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. BetParks.com has all the details. Got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You play to win. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. BetParks.
Hey, Rite Aid's got everything you need. I'm going to go over there today for some St. John's wort, little natural anti-depression, I think, and also for some allergy meds because allergy season's here. It's never going away. Main culprits, ragweed, mold, plants such as sagebrush, tumbleweed, pigweed, and ragweed. You know the routine: runny nose, itchy, watery eyes, wheezing, foggy head, confusion. Well, what can you do to get some relief? Sign up, first of all, at Rite Aid Rewards emails at riteaid.com/rewards to receive email alerts in your area about allergens. Shower, use a dehumidifier, use air conditioning if you're really struggling. Keep the windows closed. Rite Aid's got a bunch of over-the-counter options available. Try a nasal rinse to flush out your nasal passages. You can try some antihistamines such as Claritin and Zyrtec. And if you like those nose sprays, you can get some nasal corticosteroids like Flonase and Nasal-Cort. And you can use Rite Aid's own brand if you want to save a couple bucks, get the same effect. Still not enough relief? Ask a Rite Aid pharmacist if a different type of allergy medication like a decongestant might be necessary. And you can always ask those Rite Aid pharmacists for recommendations on ways to get relief during this allergy and Eagles season.
All right. This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out the credit union difference, TrueMark.com/PHLY. We need him today. We need the broad shoulders of the great Baldy.
Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Baldy. Oh, he likes pizza and football. Oh, Baldy.
Oh, Baldy. Oh, Baldy. How do you lose that game last night, brother?
Well, I announce games every week. In that situation with 1:46 to go, it's 3rd and 3. Literally, you're telling the audience, I don't care if you're doing radio or TV, you're telling them the scenario and the situation. If you run the ball, whether you make it or not, you're taking 40 seconds off the clock. The Falcons have no timeouts left. All right, so you're going to take the clock down from 1:46. You run the play to basically a minute. And then if you want to kick the field goal, it's going to be 55 seconds to go with no timeouts left, and you got to go 70 yards to win. I just don't know how you don't think that's a better option. I just don't. Now, I know the Falcons took 1:04. The ball barely touched the ground. They played very loose and very soft, and Kirk Cousins took advantage of it. But in that situation, to me, first of all, the offensive line played very well up front. All right? I mean, Nick Sirianni can come out here after the game and say, well, they're junking it up in the middle, and we don't want to run it in the middle. Well, they just ran Mekhi Becton on a trap play 3 times in a row to get down there. and they didn't look like they were getting all junked up. But regardless, they've got a whole playbook, and they got a great back in Saquon. Like, I just think on 3rd and 3, you run it, period. I just don't – and I understand, well, Saquon's got to catch it. You got to execute. Well, things happen when you throw the ball. It just does. It always and a lot of them are bad. And you could – the problem is you have to factor that in. If there is a drop, and they ran the same play on Saquon down the 5-yard line to score, and, they ruled it that he was down.
No, but your point's correct in that 99 out of 100 times it may work. But there's still the 100th time that reared itself last night. And this is where the clock matters, right? On their first play.
Look, Anthony,
we know this. I want to help. I want to make your point. On the first play that the Falcons ran, they ran a drive starter, which was over the middle. That took 22 seconds, right? And that gets everything going because now they're hurrying up, defense on their heels, but they can't run that if they have 55 seconds. You can't run that.
No, in fact, the next play, they hit Darnell Mooney, and I can't believe, he stayed in bounds.
Yes.
I don't know why he had the first down. I don't know why he didn't go out of bounds. If they make that mistake with 55 seconds to go, you're never in a position to throw it to Drake London. I just think, to me, it was a no-brainer. Just sitting here, I'm listening to Troy, I'm listening to Joe. It's the biggest play and the biggest decision of the game. To me, you just run the ball right there. And who knows? If you gain 2.5 yards and you're 6 inches short, maybe you do that, but maybe you don't take that chance either. The clock stops on a change of possession. So maybe you don't take that possession, that chance. But I think the clock is the enemy of the Falcons. They had to use their timeouts to get to the situation they were at. The Eagles only helped them by making that play. And look, Saquon feels bad. So what? It should never be in that position like that.
Yeah, I with you. All right. So let's talk about the D-line. All right. The vanishing D-line.
You tell me this, because I don't really listen to a lot of the game. I just watch it and I'm doing something else. Why did Jalen Carter not start? Why wasn't he out there for the first 5 plays? Was that disciplinary?
They didn't say. We don't know.
It's kind of bizarre. The best defensive lineman doesn't start the game. But he was invisible anyways. He didn't play well. Look, Bryce Huff is struggling, really struggling. In every phase of the game. McGarry completely eliminated him, but he's struggling in the run game. He's never been an every down player. They're starting him. They only played him 50% of the snaps as a starter. They recognize that he's struggling, especially against a team that can run the ball and got 2 great backs in Bijan and Algier and a good offensive line. He's struggling. They don't
Jordan
really
Davis. Did he play last night?
Yeah, he played. He played his 48% of the snaps. He's got – look, he can clog some things up in the run game. If he doesn't get off blocks – I got Warren Sapp texting me going, why, blah, 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 he just wants to grab him by the face mask and shake him up. But, he's got no pass rush. And I'm not a hater at all. You're going to pay the guy. You're going to draft him your 13th pick. You better be able to affect the quarterback in this business. But we're in a run league now. Passing yards are way down, way down. We're in a run league. All right, well, get off blocks and go make the play. Don't let Bijan rip off runs for 9, 13, 12, 19 yards when you're on the field like that.
So I got to ask you, it's bothering me. If you're Fangio, right, it's the last drive, and you know that your D-line is getting no pressure, and you're looking at, there's no penetration, you're looking at Cousins, who admittedly is still working his way back from the Achilles. He's not Mahomes. Why? And for the love of God, don't you send pressure? Why don't you manufacture it? You got to do something. You just can't sit soft and let him pick you apart.
Well, okay. All right. I agree completely, Cuz. But if you're going to rush just 4, all right, why are you playing so soft? Why are your corners 12 yards off? Why are you just giving them all this space? You're actually making it easy. It looks like a Friday afternoon 2-minute drill in shorts. out there on the practice field. That's what it was like to Kirk. You could tell how easy it was for him, honestly. Like the window that Mooney caught the second pass in for 20-something yards, that window between the safety and the corner. First of all, Quinion, I don't know why. Like, they've got a back coming out of the backfield. He's paying attention to the back. He's a rookie. All right. But you got to help, like he's actually thinking more about the back than Mooney behind him. So the window is huge. I mean, just about every quarterback in the league is going to make that throw. So if you're not going to challenge them up front, at least try to tighten things up in the back end. They didn't do either.
Yeah, there's some stuff that was perplexing. And look, at the end of the game, and Jalen played his heart out, right? The whole thing. But you can't just throw the game away on a prayer when you got 2 timeouts and you're 15 yards from giving your kicker a shot at it. Like you can't. His decision making has to get better.
I agree. There's plenty of teams, and we've seen Mahomes do. We've seen plenty of quarterbacks where that's more than enough time to go get yourself. Really, for this kicker, you need to get to the 40-yard line. And in today's world, that's a grand total of 30 yards. That's all you got to do is get 30 yards. From the 40, you got a 57-yard field goal. And it's a perfect conditions. So, if you want to get it to the 35, that's usually the marker. Okay. All you got to get is 30 yards right now in this business. And you're in field goal range to go win it. That's what I'm telling. Like if I'm Kellen Moore, I'm Doug Nussmeier. I'm telling them, like, look, okay, here we go. Like, we seen Mahomes in playoffs with 13 seconds get themselves in position. But that's a different cat. But you got all that time, honestly, 38 seconds to go 30 yards. Like that's pretty good. Like you should be able to do some damage.
Yeah. Do you when you look at their offense, again, without A.J. Brown, it's like, they just ground to a halt downfield. Like they don't go down. Everything then becomes horizontal. It's either a quarterback draw or Covey in the flat. Like there's nothing down the field.
Well, AJ is, he's a different cat.
Yeah.
He's just okay. But
you can't abandon that, no.
Well, I don't know. Is Devontae that guy? That'd be the one guy. But Britton Covey isn't that guy, and Jahan Dotson, he's learning the offense, and the rookie from Florida State is a big guy, but I don't think he knows what he's doing. Where's
Goddard at?
You can run Goddard.
Where's Goddard last night? And the chunk plays middle of the field.
Yeah, well, they threw to him 4 times. Like they were a run-based offense last night. I feel like sometimes they could run it every down. But you're right, there is no vertical passing game. And then at times Jalen really trusted protection, which was basically excellent for the most part. And then sometimes, he likes to exit to his right. When he exits to his right, he's either going to run it or he's probably going to throw late to the sideline. But, it's probably not going to be the right decision when he does do it.
As an O lineman, last night, 3 legal man downfield penalties. How do you? I had to ask you about it. Nobody knows it better than you.
Yeah, well, okay. So I'm texting Lane, and I was talking to different people. Kelsey's in the booth when they have one of those last night.
Yes,
and the Eagles have one. It seems like every game. So you're taught when it is an RPO to not finish your block downfield. Get it started, get your block started. But like if you're Cam Jurgens and you've got the nose tackle 3 yards down, like you're driving them off the ball, you're not going to just stop. You're just not. So there is, because it's a run pass option. So the group up front is blocking the run. Lane's blocking the run. Cam, they're all blocking the run. Now it's up to Jalen to decide, am I going to run or am I going to throw? So if you're going to throw, hopefully it gets it out quick and the guys aren't downfield. But it isn't always like that. If they're playing man coverage and they're just tackling your receivers like they did, then you're probably going to be found guilty. But that was 3 calls last night. 3 calls on that particular play where you're supposed to slow play the run. I was hoping Kelsey would really get into it, in the booth. I don't know if he had time, whatever. But like it's a problem for all teams that run RPOs, and the Eagles run them. And so they get flagged a lot for it. And I'm sure it's emphasized that, okay, on this play now, like you got to be, I forget the actual word that people keep texting me today about it, but they're supposed to slow play the run.
So, all right, makes some sense. Big picture, where are they at? Let's look at the defensive side of the ball, because the biggest worry is obviously the front. Is can you survive that?
Well, I mean, it's a couple things. I mean, there's more of the same from last year, to be honest with you, cuz.
Yeah.
I mean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, look, you could play. They went zero coverage on the play where Mooney goes 41 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, all right, zero coverage. Now, you would hope the one time that Vic calls this max blitz that somebody's going to get home, they did it. So that's not good. But if you are going to be in a zero blitz, you got to at least tackle the catch. But they missed tackles last year on the back end. And you miss tackles on the back end, or you don't play good coverage on the back end, you give up touchdowns.
Yeah.
So they gave up 2 more passing touchdowns last night. They gave up some against Green Bay. They gave up the second most in the league a year ago. And the pass rush isn't as good right now as it was a year ago. So it's a concern. It's a real concern.
Yeah, and then you all of a sudden you look up and you got Kamara, Olave, Shaheed, right? And that Saints team that's on fire.
Well, I'm going down there. I'm actually doing something. The general manager called me last night, wanted to know if I'd come on his podcast. So I'm going down to do the game on Sunday. I'll be down there. And I've watched every play. Like, they drafted this kid, Taliesin Fuaga, and he's their left tackle. He's completely changed the whole offense. The kid hasn't been beaten. He's a beast in the run game. The offensive line is playing the best it's played in years, and Kamara is the benefit of it. He scored 4 touchdowns last week. And this Rashid Shaheed, if you think for a second,
I love him.
You're going to if you think for a second you're going to stay in front of this kid, if you blink, he's running right by you. He ran by both safeties last week in Dallas. Ran right by him for 7 yards. But he's been doing it since he came into this league. He's a free agent, undrafted kid, but he's a flyer. He's Deshaun Jackson, is what he is. He's literally Deshaun Jackson. And they're going to take their shots to him, too. They're not going to, dink and dunk to Kamara. They're taking their shots. And, oh, by the way, Olave is a tremendous player. So they're running the ball. They got 3 ways to run it now. This Taysom Hill is a huge part of the offense, cuz.
Yeah.
He's a fullback. He's a wildcat guy. They're throwing it to him. And then, you've got Jamal Williams and you've got Kamara. So their offense is clicking. All right. They're going to score points. They're going to score points down there. And they're blocking really well up front. Cesar Ruiz is a local kid here from Camden. He's their right guard. He had a great game. But Fuaga's made the biggest difference in this whole offense. And, oh, by the way, this is a Clint Kubiak offense. It's basically Shanahan's offense. I mean, Gary Kubiak was with Mike, in Denver. He was a head coach. I mean, Clint's come in, and they have a real offense. And they have a real offensive plan and a system. You're going to beat a very good offense to beat this team this week.
Yeah. I mean, that second generation, man, they're pretty sharp dudes. The Kubiaks, the Shanahans, God bless them.
No, but, I remember talking to Jim Schwartz, maybe even last year, maybe it was the year before. It was the year he was out of coaching, so 2 years ago. So he was helping out in Tennessee. I see him on the sideline. I go, when you get back in and you're either a head coach or a coordinator, Jim, what would you do as your offensive coordinator? He goes, I'm just taking somebody from Shanahan's system. He goes, that's the most difficult offense to stop. The play action, the motions, the shifts, the eye candy, like that's the best offense right now. That's the hardest to defend. I mean, that's coming from a guy that's won a Super Bowl, who's a smart guy himself. I've never forgotten when Jim told me that.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I know you got through the Niners. We got a Meat Locker Thursday. My brother, thanks for jumping on this morning. That's a game you can't lose, man.
Because I feel like they had it. You never have it in the bag. You just don't. I just thought that decision with 1 minute and 48 seconds was I had a hard time with that one.
Yeah. You know what it is? They ignore the past. Like the one problem I have, there's some bright guys, but the game was invented longer than 5 years ago, right? Like, there's a reason why coaches punt. There's a reason why coaches kick field goals.
Well,
like 4th and 4, kick the field goal, dude. Like, what are you doing?
You know what you're describing? You're describing a 2-0 team with a coach that we love, Jim Harbaugh. That's exactly what he's doing. He's like, we're going to punt. We're not turn the ball over. All right. We're going to play field position. All right. We're going to run the ball. Like, the formula is so Bo Schembechler. You talk about the game wasn't invented 5 years ago. They just use the most simplistic of game plans and philosophies, and they don't deviate. And they're 2-0 right now.
Brilliant. That's why you're the Baldy. We love you, buddy. Thanks, brother.
Okay, cousin.
He's right. Well, Harbaugh. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Yeah. Listen, there's guys. Again, you're playing the Chiefs, and it's early in the game, and you want to take a shot. All right, like okay, but not against the Falcons. No. Not after you saw the game. Like both teams are going to run the ball, which means the clock goes right. So think about time and circumstance, right? It's not just what this freaking laminated thing says. God forbid.
Harbaugh's doing with J.K. Dobbins. Like, you imagine with this offensive line in Barkley, there's no way he's throwing that ball. There's no way.
No
just
way.
Pounding. Parcells, just pound it. Stop us.
It's just sick.
It's very simple.
It freaking drives me nuts. Oh, my God. Like, I don't even understand the arguments. And by the way, I love Zach to death. He's terrific. But I don't understand the whole keep my offense on the field, not kicking a field goal. Going up 6 when the other team has to score a touchdown should, if you have any credibility on defense, should work. Yeah. And it goes back to the defensive coordinator, too. Knowing that you got nobody to give you pressure, how about you freaking manufacture them? How you blitz send somebody? What the freak?
What are we doing here, guys?
Now, looking at snap counts for the season, Jordan Davis, 48%, Nolan Smith, 38%, and Huff, 53%. These are the studs. Come on.
Yeah, we didn't even bring up Nolan Smith.
They're barely on the
Georgia
field.
dogs.
Yeah.
They're like puppies. They're like little poodles.
Oh, God. It's terrible. Like, that's terrible. It's their D-line. Listen, I'm surprised, man. I'll be honest with you. I loved what I thought. I watched them. Now, the Jordan Davis one was the only one, and I remember Baldy and I talking about this, that, it's a leap of faith that he was going to be able to rush the passer, that he was just going to be a glorified, Hollis Thomas, right, clogging things up in the middle.
Yeah. He's clogging up the sidelines. That's what he's doing.
I mean, I got to get more out of you.
Yeah.
Something, man.
And they got nothing off the edge, man.
Nothing.
And I like Josh. I keep waiting for Josh Sweat to come out. But maybe sooner or later you go, well,
he's like 28. He's 29 years old.
Like, I need more out of you.
He was never a guy you would rely on for sacks, so he would give you
a couple of sacks. Like, you need somebody to step up. I mean, the only one that flashes, he's 1,000 years old. It's Brandon Graham.
That's insane to me, man.
It is.
CG still rocking.
All right.
He got 47% of the snaps last night, Brandon Graham.
Yeah, I know.
That's outrageous.
Because Fangio goes, the only I can trust.
Yes.
And he's got to be on the field.
I don't even know what you do. This is rough.
Oh, my God. Andrew, let us know about people because we want to take reaction, the whole thing. We're going to have to do some stuff. We're going to get nuggets coming up. We got a bunch of stuff. I also have I have my own nug.
Good.
All right. And it's a Jason Kelsey sweatsuit nug.
Okay.
Which I loved.
Okay.
Which if you can find a picture,
I have
the
the segment where he gets the sweatsuit in the nugs.
Okay, good.
Where Dom hands on the sweatsuit.
All right, good.
I want to analyze their acting.
Yes.
I had a feeling you like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Do I have time for a couple quick comments in here? Comments are alive.
Oh, good. I want our chat. Yeah. Yes. Let me just do me a favor.
Yeah.
Let's do comments in a minute. And anybody from the chat that wants to jump on, we're glad to take it because I know you need to get it off your chest. But I do want to tell you about 2 items, right? First, the great Primo Hoagies. Okay, so Primo Hoagies, we talk about football food and sports food. We're getting the sports season, right? Red October around the corner. And, we got football, a whole thing. Baseball, hockey, basketball, hockey coming up too. You want to have parties. You want to have people over. It's social time of the year. Nothing better than the great taste of Primo Hoagies. Listen, I know the original on Ritter Street. It started. Big Nick got it all started. And I know his attention to detail. Whatever sandwich it was, there's so much love that went into each sandwich. And he's been able to replicate it all across the Delaware Valley and beyond, because Primo's now across the country. It's an amazing story. They are just, it's the great roll, Philadelphia roll, baked fresh, in store every couple hours, just tremendous. It's that taste, man. And the party tray, you whack them up all the time, or you cut them up, God forbid. You cut them up, and then there's a million of them.
Whack them, man.
They're incredible. Just go to primohoagies.com and download the app. In fact, if you download the app, you got a chance to win. You're automatically entered. You can enter to get free hoagies for a year. primohoagies.com/app has all the details. You got to check it out. You'll say what I always say, not just a hoagie. It's Primo. All right. Also, let's talk about the great Parks Casino, Street Road, Ben Salem, the Excite Center at Parks Casino. One of the many things I love about my casino of choice, Parks Casino, #1 casino in Pennsylvania. All right, it's so close to anywhere, too. Street Road, Ben Salem, off of 95, the PA Turnpike. It's right there. The Excite Center, state-of-the-art entertainment venue inside the casino, right there in the Philadelphia suburbs, named one of the best places for concerts and comedies, comedians. Like, you want to see great acts, you want to see great comedians, great musical acts, it's a great spot to see it, man. Great venue. I got to tell you, I absolutely love it. Tickets on sale now for these headliners. September 20th, the Best of the Eagles, a tribute to the band The Eagles. September 26th, Joe Bartnick from Bill Burr's podcast. He's going to join Joe Conklin, who's better than Joe, nobody. September 28th, The Fray. October 4th is the Juicy Scoop podcast with Heather McDonald from Bravo and Chelsea Lately. October 5th, comedian Kev Herrera. He's hysterical. October 25th, comedian Michael Blaustein. November 23rd, comedian Steve Trevino. Parks Casino, this is how you win. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Let's give you some comments.
Duncan Dad says this whole game was a mother father. James Bond Flyers.
Love Duncan Dad.
James Bond Flyers, $1 for every cuz friggin' today.
Oh, brother, you know me well.
Lawrence Garifo. Anthony, always passionate, but today is Sicilian rage. Here's a little shout out, because I wanted to include this because you're doing a lot of work, man. Philadelphia 9. Cuzzo looking slim. You've been busting your stones, man. You look good.
Thanks, brother. Yeah. I'm trying.
Dave Dewar.
Got out of hand.
I can most certainly blame Stunod Nick and that nerd Howie. I'm all about that.
That's a great word, Stunod.
Stunod is a great word.
That's a great word.
Oh, Shizzy M, when you were fired up, that's the cuz I love. And Tim M, cuz is great therapy after an Eagles loss.
Oh, I'm with you. Like, it's all,
you're healing people out there today.
Oh, we're all healing each other. I just don't understand little things. Like that's a game you win. Like, forget about the Super Bowl. I'm not thinking about Super Bowls or playoffs. This is week 2, right? I want to make sure that, let's get there, right? Let's look at divisions, right? Let's look at the Cowboys. Forget about are they good enough to win a Super Bowl? That's all to be determined. You can't give up the win. No. Like that as a conference win. That's a big deal.
They shot themselves in the foot yesterday.
Yes, you gave away that game. For what? For what? I gotta tell you. Listen, I might have been completely wrong about Sirianni, right? Like, I saw a team 2 years ago that was buttoned up, that was innovative, and maybe it was all Steichen. I don't know. But I saw a guy that I thought understood things and what was passionate. And I don't know if he's going off the rails a bit. But
he did look frustrated on the sidelines though yesterday.
I mean, constant.
I also think I don't know if he's the brightest guy. He is very passionate, but he's also never. I think there's something to be said if you're a head coach about being around a winner at some point, seeing how winners do it. And he's never been part of a winning organization. He's never been a part of a championship from high school to college to anything.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a couple callers on the line.
Nice.
Callers.
Our first one here is Provolone Joe.
Yeah.
Provolone Joe! Good morning!
Watch it from the beginning, cuz.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah, I love you too. You know how I feel about you and your family. How the boys, man? Hopefully everybody's good.
They're good, playing football, the best. How's Mrs. Cheese?
She's good, man. She's good. You know, my daughter's playing that softball at a high level. She got me all over the country, man.
Oh, that's awesome, man. We got to catch up on a good day. You got to tell me about that. That's awesome.
Not today. Not today. So, yo, cuz, I tell you, you know, I was texting you last night or writing you last night, and I mean, Stunad, is that the word? Stunad? Maybe Palooka? Maybe Jambroni? I don't know.
Palooka.
That's a no for me.
Drunk boxer. That's what Sirianni reminds me of. But, you know, you see him on the sideline, and there's one play in particular. Garner makes that tackle, and they showed the clip 2 or 3 times, him running down the field. It's such an ick vibe. It's such an ick vibe. Like, you're doing too much, man. You know who he reminds me of, cuz? He reminds me of the guy, like, you go to a wedding, and you got, like, 31 of your best friends, you know, and it's a black tie wedding, and he shows up in a white tux. You're doing too much. You're doing too much.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a try-hard vibe.
So try hard.
Like, what are you doing, man? And you know,
Decline. I mean, listen, it's great. Like, I decline it, but just go like this. No, we're good. He's got decline. Stop. Like, come on, Nick.
Yeah, nah, we're not taking that. You're not doing that to us. But you know, it's like there's no pass rush. So let's get into it for a second. Think about this. Philadelphia's known for blitzes, Johnson, tough defenses. And then you get what we got last night. No pass rush. Then they get into the 2-minute drill at the end. I'm looking at my screen and I'm going, timeout. Where are my corners and safeties? 30 yards off the ball? What are you doing? Like, and not only that, you're not funneling to the middle. You're giving them sidelines. Like, they got no timeouts. There's no continuity with anybody.
I know.
And it's egregious, cuz. It's egregious. I mean,
no, to your point, I mean, Mooney made a mistake. Like, he should have been out of bounds, right? He turns it in, and they don't even pay for it. Like, you're so right about that. It's one thing you want to keep guys in front of you to keep the clock moving. All right, well, like, they gave him the sidelines too, and the guy just didn't take it, and you still didn't even, he wasn't burned by it. That's a great point.
And you know, the part of it that really irks me is we sit here and you read these things and see these things in the offseason. Oh, they went out and they drafted corners, and it's a strength of the defense. Well, guess what, cuz? Last night was the minute and a half where they had to show up. Give me some bump and run. Make them work for it. Play defense. Don't sit back and say, okay, 3 plays from now you're going to be on my 15-yard line. Come on, cuz that's egregious coaching by Vic and by Nick. The two of them. I mean, I'm just busted with the whole thing. I don't get it. So, you know, I look at the offense, and I go to the other side and I say, is this the biggest disappearing act in the history of tight ends? What happened to Goddard? Where did this guy go?
I don't know if it's him or Jalen doesn't like the middle of the field. We've talked about that before. But like the chunk play that everybody uses, the seams. Like, I used to joke about seam monster, like sea monster, but seams up the seams. And I thought Goddard was a seam monster. And he's never used in that 20-yard seam up the seams. Never.
Because I mean, from the days of Pee Wee football, we called it a pop pass. That's all. It's a pop pass. They don't do it, and every other team does. And people want to say Goddard's a top 10 tight end, a top 5 tight end. Let me tell you, he disappears, disappears.
But is that him or is that the quarterback not getting him the ball?
I think it's a combination of him, because when you watch him closely and you really put the light on him, he doesn't get off the line. I don't know if he lost a step or 2 steps, or if he just doesn't have the ability to shake a defender. But the dude's covered like.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see the all-22 on this one, because I want to see, like, was Dotson open? Like, where was he? Like, where was down the field?
Well, that brings in my next point. Covey, 155, 160-pound Covey. He's your guy. What did he get? 6 catches, 8 targets.
Yeah.
Not only in the field, you went to him 3 or 4 times in the red zone. Like that again.
I know, it's horizontal. Joe, the horizontal's horrible.
Yeah, and you got Barkley now. I don't know what they script. I really don't know what they script, because I watched him last night. The first series, he didn't get a touch. Again, not a touch. Like, how do you do that? Then he comes in the second series, he breaks off 8-10 yards of run, and then he goes to the sideline to sit for 2 or 3 plays. Because, the guy can't run. The guy can't run the ball 4 times, 5 times, 6 times in a series without taking a break. I get it, but it's just like underuse in the running.
Joey, you're as always spot on, my brother. Always, you are a great football man. Listen, I'm glad you found this, man. I'm thrilled that you found this.
I love you, because I'm going to throw one more thing at you. Alvarado's cooked.
I know, last night. I saw that last night. I went, oh my God, we can't even get a break with the Phillies.
Put him in the bathroom, cuz. Put Alvarado.
Thank God. Dombrowski got Estevez. Oh my God. Joe, you're the best, brother.
I'll check in periodically. See you, cuz.
Love it. See you, buddy. Oh my God. Bro.
Hello. What's up, brother? I woke up this morning. Last night, I think I was in a state of shock doing the post-game show, trying to keep it together, do the show, and get some rational thoughts out. I slept okay. Slept pretty good. Maybe 4 hours of sleep. When I opened my eyeballs this morning, I got immediately filled with the rage of 1,000 suns. That decision, look, the right decision is to run the ball on 3rd down there. If you want to do that pass play, fine. You have to do that knowing that you're going to run the ball again on 4th down. Like, you can't be aggressive and then coward out. The right decision is to take the time off the clock right there on 3rd down. 40 seconds gone. What does the field goal do other than incentivize the Falcons to go win the game? What does it do?
Oh, I disagree with you.
I think he blew the game at the end.
Yeah, first of all,
what does it do?
You gotta get it to 6 and force them to go for a touchdown.
Yes. Why?
What do you mean why?
The worst case, because the other way, the worst case is overtime.
But nowadays, the kickers are excellent, right? So
yeah, he's a good kicker.
You gotta, and Wu is good. Good. So you gotta force them to score a touchdown.
But the worst case is overtime. The other way. The worst case is not losing the game. If you force them to go for the touchdown and it happens, you lost.
Yeah, but that's the football, man. What? Like you gotta force them to go for a touchdown.
Kicking the field goal is irrelevant there. It keeps you alive for overtime. It doesn't lose you the game.
I completely disagree with you.
Completely disagree.
It's hard. You know how hard it is to stop. Now again,
the Falcons have no timeouts and a longer field even if you don't kick it.
Right. That's why you make them go the length of the field
to win it.
Well, they're going to try and win it regardless.
No, they're not. They're going to go try and play it to overtime. They're going to have a minute left on the clock with no timeouts. They're just going to try and get a field goal range and send it to overtime.
No,
the way they were eating up chunks, they were going to go for a touchdown regardless.
Dude, you're wrong on that, dude. Stop. That's horrible.
The other option is you're alive in overtime.
No, there is no option. First of all, you act like they're not going to take the chunks of yardage that they were given.
Yeah, to get in the field goal range. They're not going to go for a touchdown.
No, they're going to go for a win. They're on the road. They're going to go to win the game.
They have 40 seconds less time to do it in with no timeout.
What are you talking about?
If you run it on 3rd down and just take the time off the clock.
That, yes. But if you run
that's the right play one.
Right. Well, but you said run it on 4th down.
Yeah.
Well, the clock stops at the change of possession.
That's fine if you would run it on third down, like secondarily.
Okay, well, the point is you run it on third. Let's stay there.
Yes, that is the right decision.
I agree with you.
Okay.
You run it on third
so
down.
Sirianni screwed up there. We're simpatico.
Well, that's Kellen Moore.
Sure.
Kellen Moore is the play call.
All right, and here's a bigger issue.
Yes.
If he disagrees with the Kellen Moore play call, can he stop it?
No, you're not doing that. You don't
why
have
is he
time.
here?
Why is he here? He's the CEO coach. Is why he's here.
It's a disaster. It's week 2.
You allow your coordinators autonomy. You're gonna do. He's gonna call the play, and you're not gonna get in the way of that. What are you looking at? Then
why is he here? Why did he survive if he's here to manage the game?
I don't disagree with you, but and here's the other thing. I completely disagree with his notion to kick the field goal, to not kick the field goal early
I think
in
it
the
does
game.
nothing for you. Oh, there early, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the drive you're going down. Saquon's averaging 9.8 yards per carry on that drive. You get down to the 15, and you go Kenny Gainwell, Britton Covey.
Yeah, dude.
What the hell?
I don't understand why you would take Saquon off the field there.
He was the best player on the field.
I know he was like you saw him at one point. He was huffing. But you got to get him back in the game.
I'm incensed. I shouldn't be like this after a week 2 loss.
It was because they gave it away.
0.7% chance.
Forget about numbers, please. Do me a favor. Don't bring
Less than
anything
1%.
analytical into this room right now because I'm going to lose you. All right. I'm going to lose you. All right. Because people don't understand football. They think that football was invented 5 years ago. Okay. So there's a reason why. In the past, you punted, you kicked field goals, right? You ran the ball when teams didn't have timeouts. The reason why there was a strategy to that. There is a reason why it worked.
If you have a defense that's competent and get to a quarterback, they can't stop a run or get to the quarterback.
That's another issue.
Holy hell.
Let's talk about the defensive coordinator.
Oh, my God.
All right? Who sees a D-line that gives you nothing. Absolutely nothing. All night. Can't generate anything. So you don't pressure. You don't try to You're not playing Mahomes. You're playing Cousins.
Yeah, who's a statue.
Who's coming off of an Achilles. Who's admittedly said that he's still feeling his way back in. And you allow him a clean pocket?
Yeah, this D-line's a problem.
That's mind-boggling that Vic Fangio does not send pressure. Because what? Mooney burnt you? Because
CJ can't tackle.
Right.
He did have a great tackle later in the game, but that was a bad one.
But you can't, as a defensive coordinator, you can't have that in your back of your mind. Oh, that's why I didn't call blitzes. So that's insane. You think Spags? I believe me. After all these years of being friends with the guy, I kind of understand how to manage defense and what you're supposed to do.
It's concrete floor on my knees.
That's unbelievable, bro. That you don't blitz at all during that period.
So why is Bryce Huff?
JP's the best.
Yeah, thank you, JP.
I love JP.
He saw the rage.
I love JP.
Bryce Huff last year, next gen stats. I'm sorry, but it's a real thing they track.
Calm down, buddy.
It's a
Breathe. Football is such an anti-stat.
No, this is real. You'll agree with this. I don't even think you can
breathe out.
Somebody get him one of those Giant fans. Next gen stats. Bryce Huff had one of the quickest get-offs the line in the entire NFL last year. Less, explosive. I think he was top 5 in the league. Watch, Vic Fangio's got him standing up and engaging with offensive linemen. That dude is a speed burner who gets out and goes. He can't defend the run to save his life, so you can't even have him on the field.
I don't think he's in anything.
He might not be, but his best chance.
The Jets are a good defense. I think he benefited from that.
He sells out. He's a sellout end who is all about a speed rush.
Yeah, so why let him speed?
And unfortunately, that's what Nolan Smith is right now. He's a guy.
These Georgia kids, man.
Off the edge, right?
Jordan Davis looks like a total disaster. They were running right at him. Jalen Carter's getting double teamed probably 90% of the plays because he's the only one with a threat of doing something. Jordan Davis is.
And when you see them get shredded, how is Devin White not even able to suit up?
I know.
$3.5 million.
What's going on?
Jahan Dotson, a third rounder. You can't even find the field.
So that's the other thing. That's why I can't wait to look at the All-22 because
Pets' heads are falling off.
Because here's the thing. What you're going to tell me Dotson's not open? Where's Goddard? Right?
Dude, what's up with Hurts and Goddard?
Where's the seam? Where's the seam throw? The 20-yard seam throw. It is a thing in the league with tight ends. And for some reason, it's not here with Jalen. And let's talk about Jalen for a second, because the decision-making at the end of that game was abysmal. He threw up. All you needed, you had 2 timeouts, and you need 15 yards to give your kicker a shot, a good shot, all right?
And
a kick that he's made, right. And you throw the ball. You just throw it up for grabs.
He played hero ball.
You throw it up for grabs.
That's what he does.
And it's abysmal. And his decision-making is not good. It's not. How many quarterbacks, Super Bowl quarterbacks, they'll get you the field goal. They'll play for that. You'll see it. That's a horrible decision. And while I God bless him, he played his heart out and ran hard, the whole thing. You got to stop just bailing right. You got to stop bailing right. I said it to Fran and
Bo last night. The offensive line was great, dude. Becton and Lane on the right side. Dickerson, Juergens was good. But those two, they were moving men. And the pocket was beautiful a lot of times. And I said it to Fran. I go, why does he keep rolling out to the right? There's clean pockets and he's bailing. And once, we kind of looked at it because we watch one TV on delay, one live. So we always go to the delay TV. And I was like, let's see if this improved his passing lane. On one, it was maybe. On 2 or 3, he's rolling out right, throwing across his body to the middle of the field again. And I don't want to he was very low on my complaint list last night, but you're right. His decision making in the clutch has been brutal.
You can't do it. And listen, God bless him, but we know that him running like that is not sustainable.
Oh, I was thinking last night, how long till he gets hurt?
Right, you can't. That's not sustainable. It's one thing if it's a design run where he's a part of the run game,
built-in protection,
where he's able to protect. Right, exactly. Yeah. But when he's scrambling like that, that's not a sustainable way to win, and you got to use the middle of the field.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden you have the 2 hottest teams in the NFL and the Saints and Bucs on the schedule.
It's amazing how this league works.
Don't
right?
go there,
dude.
Just focus on the day.
What I'm thinking about,
the one thing about this league,
1-3 already.
Yeah, the one thing about this league.
Oh, the NFL's weird as hell.
You can't. We saw. The shame is you had the game. VT and I were talking before the game. It was kind of an awkward spot, and we both felt kind of weird about it.
I thought the Eagles didn't cover and won. I said in the pregame, I was like, it's going to be a hard-fought, small margin of victory win.
Ugly,
because Kirk Cousins just plays well against
the Eagles. You just thought it was kind of, and I'll be honest, yesterday, I was 31-13.
Yeah, me too.
I got lost in it. And then as the day went on, I'm like, yeah. And he and I were texting about it. And that's why the points early mattered. You got to kick
those
the
things
field goal.
matter.
You got to kick the field goal there. And look, the Niners lost. The Lions lose at home.
Yeah.
Cowboys get destroyed, right? The Rams get destroyed. So the conference.
But it's PTSD from last year.
That's
where it becomes
the
issue.
The other problem is, though, that's a chance to go a game on those conference opponents.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? 7 of his last 9 games they've lost. 2 in historically epic bad fashion. So, my thought this morning is if they lose these next 2 weeks, are we looking at a bye week firing? Honestly, I think
that's not Jeffrey Lurie.
I know it hasn't been.
That's not. I don't think
it can be.
I don't say it.
You start 1-4, and that defense is the worst in the NFL at rush defense and just getting picked apart. He's got too much invested in this roster to just quit on 12 weeks. If it's a disaster and you've lost 9 of 11 straight games.
But you don't just. If you fire a coach, then we're going to make Kellen Moore the head coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't say it. I'm not happy with him either. So
I think Lurie was embarrassed as hell last night because they knew that Sirianni screwed it up.
Well, and he's got Bill in the house. Bill's probably texting him.
Yeah, you up? Hey, it's late. I'm going over film.
But again,
should have run the ball. I would have ran the ball.
But the one thing you're saying, Sirianni screwed up. It was Kellen Moore.
Well, you have a head coach that can't change it if it's something he doesn't
but head coaches don't change it.
But he's lucky to be back.
No. You got to trust me. John Harbaugh does not override play calls. Mike Tomlin does not override play calls. They don't override that
They
stuff.
have resumes more than Sirianni
But no, my only point is the CEO coach is not overriding play calls. Even more a reason why I'm trying to tell you. Listen,
I didn't even hate the play call, to be honest with you, because he should have executed on it. It's a first down.
Listen,
but the smart play is to
I
run
thought it was unnecessary.
It was.
It was unnecessary risk. Okay, but just so we're on the same page, and believe me, Sirianni's on my nerves too. So I'm not no love lost there. My point is that no coach is overriding the play call.
That's fine.
Your OC's the play caller.
I'm not even hung up on that. I'm just the guy's lucky to still have a job. He had to fire half of his staff to keep his job. And then you see something like that happen, and his only thing is in-game management, right? Jalen Hurts and Reed Blankenship talked to the locker room last night because they said it's a players-controlled team. We were watching the press conference, and Jalen's voice was hoarse, and I was like, Vinny, who was he yelling at? And then it comes out he led the player meeting. What would you say you do here?
And here's the other issue as to why I don't like that, all right? Which is, hey, and God bless Jalen, and it's great that he's going to try to be the leader of this team, the whole thing, and I'm all for it.
Trying to take the bull by the horns, I respect it.
Except he made a huge mistake at the end of the game. You need leadership.
And the Packers won in the end zone. I'm having flashbacks.
You need leadership of a head coach.
Yes.
You just need it. It's one of the reasons why that story was not just nonsense.
No.
In the beginning of where about Sirianni,
just like San Luquito and Wentz wasn't nonsense. When stuff like that comes out,
if there's a division between Hurts and Sirianni, I don't know, stuff like that.
Are they telling him, no, you're not addressing us? We want, is he trying to get in and address the team? Or is he like, you guys carry it on. I'm good. It's
listen. The season's not over, and I don't want to overreact.
But it stinks.
It's week 2.
This was
that's a bad loss.
The defensive line has me shook.
Yes. No, that is a real concern, Achilles heel.
Remember in Bo's,
that I don't know that they can overcome.
Bo's staff predictions for the year, I predicted they'll trade for a DN this year, and I thought they were going to get a level of competence. And we don't even have that to add to it. This is a problem. That defensive line is bad.
And I listen, I've always hated this defense, the analytic friendly bend but don't break defense. I just don't like it. I go, okay, there's a reason why teams run it.
Yeah.
But if the defensive coordinator is not going to even pressure against an immobile quarterback,
and you're incapable of getting it with 4 men.
You're just
incapable.
That's just going like this. Here, lock me up.
Yeah. All right, I got to go do a Philly show. All I see is Eagles rage in my eyes.
Let's not get on the Phillies. All right, because
they're fine.
The
Phillies are fine.
Tucci's I don't know if they're a World Series team. I go, what do you mean? I go, well, of course they're a World.
We're so back, aren't we?
The 5 innings. They got 1 run.
Feels good. Yeah. We're back, baby.
We're back. They just took 2 or 3 for the Mets. So what? I want to see them kill the Brewers. I'm all right.
They just need 1 from this year. They need 1 for the tiebreaker. That's it.
They're good.
All right.
All right. Don't.
Thanks for listening to me, bitch.
Always. We love you.
See you guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Later.
Oh my God. I know. It's frustrating. So I was telling you about that sweatsuit.
Yeah.
Well, let's go the nug. You have the nug of the sweatsuit, Andrew? Andrew!
I can pull it
If there's anybody else, we'll stay if they want to join us.
It's Uncle Frank is waiting.
Yeah, well, let's get Uncle Frank in a minute.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Let me get the sweatsuit up here for you.
Yeah, get the sweatsuit up.
It's the...
Because I love this sweatsuit.
Yep. It's right here. I got it right here. Coming up.
All right.
You should have given him the sweatsuit.
Jason Kelsey was all. I loved Kelsey. Kelsey's the best. Okay, so
there's the picture of the sweatsuit right there, but we have the actual video if you want to watch that.
All right.
Here we go.
Time. Oh, look. See?
He locked out like the ball.
What are we doing?
Access denied, baby.
Hey, let me in. Yo, Kels, what are you doing here?
Because.
What do you mean? It's game day. You don't work here anymore. You're right. I got countdown, and I don't have anything to wear. Your family. I got the perfect thing. A South Philly tuxedo? This is perfect! Vietnam! Let's go, baby!
How great is that? By the way, thanks to our diehards who are absolutely special. We love you guys, and thanks for hanging here at us at PHLY. So I was texting with Jason about. I go, dude, I got to get that sweatsuit. Like, I love that sweatsuit. And he goes, you know what's interesting about it? The ESPN didn't want him to have a team logo, like an Eagles logo on it. So he got the Italian flag stitched over the Eagle logo.
Great.
So that awesome. Eagle logo, so that Italian flag. So back in the day, I was a sweatsuit guy, right?
South Philly tuxedo?
Yes. And there was all these things, right? Like Lotto, Diodora,
Oh my
right?
God.
Like all these companies, Fila. I had them all, right? And they all had a version of the Italy flag. Like, whatever, you're a kid, you would, no culture thing, whatever.
Right.
And you would always wear it, right?
Uh-huh.
And they were whole thing. So they all had the Italian flag. So it took me back. And Jason's like, yeah, dude, ESPN didn't want me to do that. So we had the Italian flag stitched on. He was, I thought it looked cool. I go, dude, you're right on, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Went perfect with the green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
That's good.
All right, Uncle Frank wants a bloodlet.
Yeah, he does.
Let's bloodlet with Uncle Frank. Good morning, Uncle Frank.
Look at the dog just chilling.
Hey,
What'd
what's
you say,
happening,
buddy?
squad? All good. Yeah, I'm glad. Sure as hell glad Jamie showed up. Give us all agita. Jesus. This game, there were so many things that were egregious. I don't even know where to start. I got to tell you, though, I'm going to DoorDash Coach Nick some pom-poms because my man, he's not calling plays. He's making some bad game decisions. Just, I don't know, put him in the bathroom or something. And then I go to I tweeted out last night, and guys, that I said, is this Fangio's defensive front or the turnstiles on the Frankfurt L? I mean, it literally, Bijan, I thought they would have gave him the ball more, but there was nothing there. It was incredible. I know Jalen's getting doubled most of the time, that he had one tackle. Everyone else went, they went ghost on us. And like Provolone Joe said, speaking of ghosts, I think Goddard has gone Casper on us, but I think I blame Jalen and the play calling. It seemed to be like Kellen had him in for protection more times than I thought he should have. But I agree with you. I don't think Jalen sees the middle well. Well, he always wants to roll out. And Jamie said he had a sense of pocket there, but his pocket awareness needs to be tweaked,
Yeah, but listen, that's one of the things. Listen, he's down on the list of last night, but
yes,
but
if I
you can't be so quick just to roll out, go right. Like it's like exit stage right, and he does it a lot, and he's got to button that up. I mean, listen, that's down on the list, but his defense is at the top.
Yeah, he's got to be more disciplined. But I got to tell you, the defensive line, I was shocked. I didn't expect from Fangio, and like you made a good point. If the front four is not getting to a guy with a bad Achilles, send somebody.
Yeah,
Jimmy Johnson would have sent that out.
I'm not going to Buddy Ryan, and I'm not doing that.
No.
But there is a merit. You just can't allow Cousins. He's not Mahomes, right? He's not Lamar Jackson. Not a guy that's going to make you pay like that. You got to get to him. You can get to him. You got to disrupt him. He had a clean pocket at each of those throws.
He was comfortable back there. God,
he was.
Darn. With a bad Achilles. You know how that is.
Uncle Frank, did you tweet? Did you put in the chat that you went to bed with 2 minutes left?
No.
Was that you?
No.
Oh, all right.
There might be an imposter Uncle Frank.
There might be an imposter Uncle Frank in there.
I'll get my lawyers on it.
How's Josie?
Yeah, hey, watch this. Josie. Watch. She should play. Jalen should throw to her. Ready?
Wow! That was awesome, Josie!
I threw a fade to her.
Shows you riding the right route.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Hey guys, hey, real quick, Ant. How's little Ant doing with freshman ball?
Good. Yeah, their team's very good. Yeah. Yeah, he's doing good. Every Thursday. Yeah, it's good.
They play in schools in PA, I'm sure.
No, I don't think so. I think I know they played Paul 6. They got Cherokee coming up.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's good stuff, though. Thank you, Uncle Frank.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, brother.
And Mossy, of course. All right. Love you guys. Thanks.
Love you, buddy.
Thanks, Uncle Frank.
See you, Uncle Frank.
Peace, Uncle Frank.
I'm sure Ant Jr. could get more pass rush than more edge rushers, too.
It's just so disappointing.
It is.
That loss was a tough loss, man.
It was a punch in the gut.
I mean, I know you're not in the stats, but the fact is that it was a 0.7 chance of them losing. That it was just like it was in the bag. We had it. Like that was made it so hard.
You know why I think that's nonsense? Because what does that tell you? Like, what is that? How does that? You know that they had a ridiculously good chance to win the game, right?
Yeah.
So what does 0.7 mean?
Well, it justifies the miserable feeling I have in my gut.
You don't need it. You don't need that to justify
Am I
it.
overreacting? No, that was a terrible loss. And that number lets me know, this was a catastrophic loss.
Yeah, but it was a catastrophic. You didn't need the number to tell you that. That's my only beef.
Am I overreacting? But no, I'm not overreacting.
It doesn't matter. Like that percentage, I don't even know how you come up with it.
And I think we came off. I don't want to rehash, but we are coming off a catastrophic collapse, and then we see this, and it just feels like the same crap again.
No, listen. I don't disagree with you.
It was devastating.
The problems that we saw from last year don't seem to be all the way fixed.
The Falcons had 100 yards rushing by the end of the first half.
No, I know. I mean, the front. And it's really the front seven, too.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of assets invested in that front, too. That's a high draft picks, man.
The Kobe Dean.
Yeah.
You got lots of guys.
Yeah.
I mean, the front seven is absolutely. And this is Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, what's next week again inside the dome against the Saints?
Right. And they historically struggle down there.
Like, that scares me. And then, is that what, and maybe the Packer thing, because of the field and Love gets hurt, and maybe that was just an anomaly that they didn't go up and down the field.
You guys see the Falcons celebrate in their locker room? They act like they won the Super Bowl. They were spraying.
That's a big win.
I would too.
On the road.
I know.
After
the way
they lost the first game.
The way you come back.
Yeah.
That's the game's lost. If you're Atlanta, game's lost.
I forget.
That's just an atrocious loss. It's a devastating loss. So many levels.
And I forget the stat, but
unnecessary loss.
ESPN at halftime put the stat for Raheem Morris. He's got a losing record when he's down at halftime. And there you go. He got the win yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million ways to cut this thing up, and how it would have been.
Who's on the bump tonight? Who's going to pick us up tonight?
Wheels.
Oh,
it's
Wheels?
win day.
Oh, let's go! All right.
Yeah, Wheeler tonight.
Yeah.
So we need
we'll feel good about that.
Good start time.
Wheeler Savale.
I think it's 7. Is it 7:40 tonight? I feel like
it's Milwaukee, so it's Midwest time.
Rain in the forecast.
TBS. It's on TBS.
Yeah, but they're
Rain in the
Milwaukee.
forecast for what?
Rain in the forecast for tonight.
In Milwaukee?
They play the dome.
Then you don't have to worry about it.
7:40. Wheeler versus
Says the
Montas.
sports guy. The retractable dome. Come on,
you gotta lighten it up, all right? You gotta lighten it up a little bit. Everyone's down the dome. Everyone's upset.
It's going to rain in Milwaukee. All right, well, they closed the roof. You're good.
He's thinking about the fans because he doesn't want the Milwaukee fans to go and walk in the rain.
They're fine. The Phillies are fine. Leave the Phillies alone. In fact, I may have to make the edict not for Andrew not to watch.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
I mean, I may put you on the barred list.
What?
For Phillies. You're too negative.
No, I'm good with the Phillies. I'm great with the Phillies.
What do you think, JP?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see these next 2 days. Wheeler and Nola.
He walks in this one. They're 1-3. Like
he's got his head elsewhere. The Champions League starts today.
Yeah, he's got the Champions League.
Oh, stop.
Champions League up.
Look, no. Listen to me. I get it's week by week, okay? But that Saints game against the Cowboys, a great defense. We all can say that the Cowboys have a great defense.
Well, they don't have a great defense. They have a good defense.
They have a better defense than the Eagles now.
Agreed.
And seeing how they just performed against the Cowboys.
I get it. Like, I don't need you to tell me that next week's a tough game. I agree. I mean, I agree with you, tough game. But automatically, you have a habit of this. You did it during the whole Phillies, during their down period. You were, I'm out, they stink, they're not going anywhere. Don't deny it. You were completely over the top. You think VG was bad? You were way worse than VG.
Yeah, what he said.
I'm from Philly. I'm sorry. I'm from Philly.
You're from Philly. That doesn't mean anything.
You're from Boston. You're from Doylestown.
No, it's sport. It's not about being from here. It's about you're now a sports professional. You got to think it through. Don't be so negative.
Peel the layers.
Bad vibes that you're putting out there.
Well, good thing I'm not on the team.
We need to pray for blitzes because that takes all the decision making out of Jalen's head. You know what I mean? He's got the quick read. Just have people blitz him constantly. Please blitz us constantly.
He was good last night.
Yeah. Well, a tight end seam is great for blitzes, and we ran that so much last night.
Where's Goddard?
It's a real disappointment.
Yeah, no, we do need that all 22 because I want to see too. And the thing is,
where was Dotson? Was he just not open? Did he get enough? I don't get all the horizontal stuff. I got so many question marks.
How did Calcaterra get more looks than Goddard?
I know.
He did bring some energy.
I was like, what is going on here when I saw that?
I know, dude. I hear you. All right. Well, I guess that's going to kill it for us. All right, everybody. Listen, it's a long season. All right.
Is that good?
The Eagles whacked up our show today.
No, I mean, it's a long season. I mean, listen. All right. We got to do what? We just got here. I just want to enjoy football season.
I know, man.
You know what I mean? We just got to football season.
Red looking forward. Yeah, Red October, man. Jeez.
I Toot said to me, he said something about Mitchkoff.
Paul George.
Listen, I'm like, all right, we can't go. He goes, wow, when you get fired up now? It's week 2.
Sixers training camp's next week,
yeah,
right?
Man, let's go.
All right. We love you guys. Have a great day, all right? It's not over, all right? Let's have fun over this. We'll try. All right. At the very least, we have each other. All right. We love you guys. Thanks for hanging. We'll see you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.